Nearly 24 paintings by the late Indian painter MF Husain, one of the world's most celebrated modern artists, are set to hit the auction block for the first time this week.
세계적인 현대 미술가 중 한 명으로 지난 2011년에 세상을 떠난 인도 화가 마크불 피다 후세인의 작품 20여 점이 이번 주 처음으로 경매에 나올 예정입니다.
We've been waiting 17 years to see these paintings because they've been locked away in bank vaults. There was a businessman who had them who defaulted on a loan allegedly, and then the authorities seized them, and now finally they're coming out. So one, we'll get to see them because they go on auction, but two, somebody or several very rich people may be going home with work by what they called the Picasso of India.
Exactly. To default on a loan means you haven't been able to repay the loan. And so that's why this, the artwork was thankfully, I guess, surfaced.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, though. Just recently, a few months ago, another one of MF Husain's paintings was sold, and it went for $13.8 million, the most expensive Indian artwork to be auctioned. Will they break that record? Quite possibly.
All right. Let's have a look at the word celebrated, a celebrated artist.
Yes, when we use this for a person or for an institution, it means they're not just famous, but they're also well respected. People admire them for whatever they do. I think of Bong Joon-ho, for example, as a celebrated filmmaker.
Yes.
I think of Picasso as a celebrated artist, or Bach as a celebrated composer. Whoever it may be, they're not just well known. People also think they're very, very good or very, very respectful to them.
유명하기도 하고 존경받기도 하는 그런 사람을 celebrated someone 이렇게 얘기하죠. 그다음에는 hit the auction block.
Yes, meaning to be put up for auction. And the word block here literally means a block. Because in the old days, you wouldn't necessarily have a table. If it's something very heavy, well, you put it on a block. If you go to the butchers in the old days, they wouldn't have a table, they would have a block. That would be where they would prepare the animals, prepare the meat. So the auction block was the big, basically wooden block or stone block where the item would be placed when it went to auction.
So it's just another way of saying it's going to be put up for auction.
I think it's a more poetic way of saying it.
Hit the auction block. 경매에 붙여지다. Here's the headline one more time. Nearly 24 paintings by the late Indian painter MF Husain, one of the world's most celebrated modern artists, are set to hit the auction block for the first time this week. Let's move on to the next headline.
Researchers in China have used the rare mineral tellurium to create an artificial retina that restored sight in blind animals and even enabled them to see infrared light.
중국 과학자들이 희토류의 일종인 텔루륨으로 인공 망막을 만들어 눈이 먼 동물의 시력을 회복하고 나아가 적외선 감지 능력까지 부여했다는 연구가 나왔습니다.
It's astonishing. They're using nanotechnology, these nanowire implants, with this tellurium, which means they've been able to restore sight in not only genetically blind mice, but also in a monkey. And it's not just giving them sight, it's also the ability to see invisible light. So infrared. It's quite astonishing. I don't know what it means for the future for humans. It might be that one day we all have this kind of implant and we can all see infrared light and who knows what.
Supervision of some sort.
So this mineral tellurium, it can actually replace the photoreceptor cells in the retina and then send electrical signals, to the brain. So therefore, people who have never been able to see maybe in the future can be helped to see with this technology.
일단은 동물에 이제 성공적으로 사용을 했고 나중에 이게 인간에게 사용할 수 있을지는 아직 모르지만 그래도 가능성이 열려 있다고 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 이 표현을 좀 보게 되면은 일단은 과학적인 표현들 좀 보면 망막 영어로는 retina.
Yes, lots of technical medical terms that you just have to learn. They're quite tricky even for native speakers.
맞습니다. 그래서 retina 그게 망막이고요. 그 다음에는 이제 적외선을 영어로는 infrared light라고 해요. 적외선, 적이 빨간색이죠. 그래서 red가 들어갑니다. 참고로 자외선에서 자는 보라색이라서 ultraviolet rays라고 하죠. violet가 그 이제 보라색 같은 거니까. 그래서 자외선은 UV rays, ultraviolet rays고요. 적외선은 infrared light라는 거. 이건 그냥 과학적 용어들이니까 참고하시면 되겠고. 이 표현을 좀 보고 싶어요. Restore your eyesight.
Yes, so sight is the ability to see, it's vision, and to restore means to give it back.
Yeah.
Now, with these genetically blind mice, they never had sight in the first place. So in that case, it would not work for the monkey in this case, though. Yes, the monkey had its sight restored. So if you lose your sight and then get it back, that means your sight has been restored.
To restore, 회복하다, sight, 시력을 회복하다, restore sight. And to enable,
That means to allow something to happen or allow someone to do something to help them
Right.
do whatever it is. So, for example, our phones enable us to message anybody or call anybody in the world. Our phones also enable us to spend too much money on online shopping.
무엇을 가능하게 하다, enable us to do something, enable someone to do something. So, as Paul Sam said, right now, our phones enable us to do many things, including spend too much time on the phone itself.
Yes. Now, you know what enables you to remember all the colours of the rainbow?
A song?
No, it's Richard of York gave battle in vain. Talking about ultraviolet, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
그러게요. Richard of York, what?
Gave battle in vain.
이렇게 외우셨군요. 빨주노초 파남보를. 한국에서는 그냥 빨주노초 파남보 이렇게 외우는
네.
것 같아요.
알겠습니다.
그게 그냥 탁, it sticks 입에 붙어가지고. 근데 영어에서는 이제 앞 글자 떼서 또 다른 이제 스토리를 만들어가지고.
Yeah, mnemonics can be very useful
더 어려운 것
sometimes.
같은데.
죄송합니다.
아니 저는 처음 들었어요, 사실은 이거.
Oh, really? Yeah, because reಗೊ이비v is a bit difficult to remember for people, but Richard of York gave battle in vain is the order of the colours in the rainbow.
All right. Well, if you find that useful, then memorize it.
I don't think anybody's going to find it useful. Sorry, everybody.
So these enable you to memorize the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, mnemonics.
Mnemonics. That's what
Yeah,
it's
a
called.
mnemonic is where you have a word for each letter of whatever it is you're remembering.
Yeah, I remember for the directions, my teacher used to say, never eat shredded wheat.
Yeah, my teacher said that too.
Okay, so
North,
there
east,
you go.
south, west, never eat shredded wheat.
There's other versions. I've heard Americans learn other versions, but you
Yeah.
know that's how we used to, when we were very young, memorize the, where north and east and south and everything was.
It's sometimes a very useful trick to remembering complicated things.
That's right, mnemonics. Okay. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Researchers in China have used the rare mineral tellurium to create an artificial retina that restored sight in blind animals and even enabled them to see infrared light. Let's move on to the final headline.
The search for a runaway pet zebra, which became a viral sensation after being loose for more than a week in the US state of Tennessee, has ended after it was safely captured by police and airlifted back to its owner.
미국 테네시주의 한 가정에서 탈출해 일주일 넘게 잡히지 않으면서 숱한 화제를 낳았던 반려 얼룩말이 경찰에 안전하게 구조된 후 헬기로 주인에게 인계됐습니다. First of all, I didn't know you could have pet zebras, but please do tell.
I think in the US, it's sometimes possible to have pets everything. We've had the Tiger King, for example. Some people have lions and tigers. Some people have zebras or zebras, as they say in the US. And this zebra, Ed, got into a lot of trouble. So Ed escaped on May 31st from his new owner. So new place, wasn't familiar, maybe a little bit scared.
That happens.
And then he was running about the neighborhood. And then he was running on the interstate. And he became an overnight celebrity, a viral sensation. It took them a week, a little bit more than a week, to capture him. Sunday was the day when aviation crews managed to capture him. They airlifted him, hoisted him up in the air in a net, and took him back to his owners.
Well, I'd definitely take a picture if I saw a zebra crossing the highway or just walking around in my neighborhood.
Well, to be honest, I've seen a lot of zebra crossings in Seoul.
Well, we see zebra crossings. In America, I don't think they use that expression.
No, they don't. But in the
They call
UK, we
it,
have
yeah.
zebra crossings and pelican crossings.
미국에서는 뭐라고 부르는지 기억이 잘 안 나네요.
Crosswalk?
Maybe. 네, 이렇게 얼룩말 무늬라고 해가지고 횡단보도를 영국에서는 zebra crossing이라고 합니다. 자, 이렇게 이제 얼룩말이 그냥 배회하고 다니다 보니까 온라인상으로 센세이션이 됐었었는데 일주일 만에 다시 안전하게 포위가 되고 잡혀서 주인들에게 돌아갔습니다. 네, 안전하게 잘 있어요. What's a viral sensation?
Well, we know the word viral from virus like COVID or the flu or cold, something that spreads through a virus. And we use it to mean something spreading very quickly. So a viral sensation is something that becomes famous very, very quickly on the internet. It's being passed around social media or other websites or through messaging. Something we've all seen the memes, we've all seen the videos. Fubao, for example, was a viral sensation.
Of course. Something that's viral is something that's very popular online. 이게 옛날에는 이런 단어 없었겠죠. 소셜 미디어 없고 그다음에 뭐 인터넷 없던 시대는 당연히 또 없었겠지만 요즘에는 아주 폭발적인 인기인 것을 viral한 것이다라고 얘기를 하고요. 외래어도 이렇게 많이 쓰는 것 같아요. sensation도 마찬가지입니다. So we could actually just say in Korean viral sensation.
Yeah, works as well.
I think people would understand because we use both words sometimes these days. 네, 인터넷에서의 대유행을 얘기하고요. And to airlift an animal?
Means to take them, to transport them in the air. So it's usually a helicopter, could be a plane. And in this case, it was a net that dangled under the aircraft.
Yeah.
But it might be actually aboard the aircraft as well. So if you get airlifted, you're taken somewhere by air.
I saw pictures of this zebra being airlifted, and it was kind of like it's in a sitting position for what would, humans would sit in this position. I don't know if horses do, but...
Well, he's not a horse, he's a zebra.
Same thing, isn't it? Similar.
Hang on, Sue. Are you claiming that horses are the same as zebras? Have you ever heard a zebra?
No.
They have different sounds to horses.
Oh, okay.
I assume they went, nee. In fact, they go, ah, ah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then I stand corrected.
It's black and white, Sue. The issue is black and white.
It is. So the zebra was airlifted. 이건 항공기로 이동시킨 상황을 얘기하죠. 이동된 것이죠. 수동태니까. The animal was airlifted and returned back to its owner.
Yes. And do you know what you get if you cross a zebra with a donkey?
No.
A zonkey.
A zonkey.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
do exist.
Really?
Yes.
I thought you were kidding.
No.
No? Okay. Learned something new. Well, here's the headline one more time. The search for a runaway pet zebra, which became a viral sensation after being loose for more than a week in the U.S. state of Tennessee, has ended after it was safely captured by police and airlifted back to its owner. All right, well, that's it for the headlines.